friends, family members of Benjamin Aser, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Taras Yatsky, and I'm the chairperson of the Sacrifice Medal Committee. Today, we will be awarding the Sacrifice Medal to the father of Benjamin Aser for his ultimate sacrifice in the defense of Ukraine. We will begin today's program with the playing of the Canadian and Ukrainian national anthems. After the anthems, please remain standing for a minute of silence in memory of all Canadians, Ukrainians, and all soldiers who gave their lives in the defense of our freedom. Please rise. Thank you. At this time, I would like to welcome and thank the following guests that are here with us today to honor Benjamin Aser's memory. Rabbi Mendel Heiken and Rabbi Menachem Wolf and Petro Sturen, President of UCC Toronto Branch. I'd also like to acknowledge the following sponsors of this event: the Taras Shevchenko Foundation, Ukrainian Credit Union, Toronto Ukrainian Foundation, Caisse Populaire of Montreal, and the Canada-Ukraine Foundation. Yesterday, it was 4 years when Russia invaded Ukraine and began the largest and deadliest conflict in Europe since World War II. It has caused hundreds of thousands of military casualties and tens of thousands of Ukrainian civilian casualties. Hundreds, if not thousands of people saw the horror of this invasion and decided to protect the innocent and go to Ukraine and fight for justice and the defense of Ukraine. Benjamin was an example of these brave individuals who saw the horror and the wrong of this invasion, and in 2023 went to Ukraine to help defend its freedom. With his military experience, he became a valued member of the Ukrainian armed forces in the defense of Ukraine. Tragically, Benjamin was killed by a drone in the Kharkiv region on May 24th, 2025. He fell while helping another foreign volunteer, ignoring orders to retreat in favor of holding the position to continue returning fire. The Sacrifice Medal Committee is comprised of members of two organizations, the Ukrainian Canadian Congress and the Ukrainian War Veterans Association of Canada. The Ukrainian Canadian Congress was founded in 1940 and acts as the umbrella for all national, provincial, and local Ukrainian organizations in Canada. It represents Ukrainian Canadians from Newfoundland to Vancouver to Whitehorse. With its member organizations, the UCC leads, coordinates, and represents the interests of the Ukrainian Canadian community throughout Canada. It represents this community before the Canadian people and the government of Canada. The UCC also promotes linkages with Ukraine and identifies and addresses the needs of the Ukrainian community in Canada. And it was in October 2022 at the 27th Triennial Convention of the Ukrainian Canadian Congress, a resolution was passed that the UCC join with the War Veterans Association of Canada and establish a medal that will be presented to citizens of Canada who have been killed or wounded in action while serving in the Ukrainian armed forces in defense of Ukraine's freedom. Rabbi Menachem Wolf is from the JRCC in Thornhill, Ontario. It serves the Jewish community in Toronto and tries to achieve the Jewish identity, continuity, and integrity amongst the Jewish people from the former Soviet Union and their families. It provides educational, spiritual, religious, and cultural community services to its members. Rabbi, please come up to the...
Доброго вечора, шановні пані та панове. I'm sure there is no need to translate it. It's going to be hard to speak after somebody that is named after Taras Shevchenko. I want to say thank you to Rabbi Chaikin for making the connection. He's a dear friend. It's really hard to speak, especially when Jonathan, the father, is here. The reason we have a moment of silence is because there is things which there is no words that can describe, and it's really, there is sometimes place that there is no words that can be said. Nevertheless, Torah teaches us to always try and learn a lesson So I will share with you two little lessons that I heard recently from my parents who are still in Ukraine, in a place called Kherson. I'm sure you guys heard of it. There's a story that happened actually last week. We have, due to the recent events, I'm sure you all follow and well aware, there's many people that are in Kherson, that are in places which is really impossible to live. And so we have few families that live in our house with my parents. And we have a lady, story that happened to a lady who's actually not Jewish, but she lives by us now. Happened, I think, a week and a half ago. She was walking maybe 200 meters from our house, and a bombing started. And if you follow, there is such a munition called cluster munition. So when it falls, it doesn't just fall and hits one place. It sends hundreds and hundreds of small pieces that each one of them, doesn't matter, almost doesn't matter where it hits, can end, God forbid, a person's life. And she's outside, there's no place to take shelter. And so she lies on the ground, and she understands that this is probably the final moments of her life. So she's not Jewish. She started to pray, and she decided to say a psalm number 23 from the Psalms of David, the King David. Gam ki elech begei tzal mavet, even when I go in the valley of death, shall not fear, ki ata imadi, because God is with me. And there is fragmentations that hit right next to her, but not just above her head. She had a big fragment in her coat that missed her by millimeters. Thank God she's alive. And this is the kinds of conversations I have with my parents. We already stopped a long time ago, we stopped to ask them, why are you still there? And really, it's a question that they ask themselves as well. What do we do there? Why are we still in Kherson? Why are we still in Ukraine? They have Israeli passports, they can leave. And when this question was asked in the most, maybe, strong way, was, I don't know if you guys heard about it, I'm sure some of you did. A few months ago, my father, my mother, and my sister, they were driving from Odessa to Kherson. And there's actually a video of it. The Russians, they publicized the video when a drone hits my parents' car while they're driving. It was an open miracle. My father only got a small scratch on his foot, and that's it. They got out alive. It was a direct hit from a Russian drone. The Russians even publicized the video. They didn't show that there is a little girl that leaves the car. They said it's a military car. But that's a side note. And, the governor, the military governor of Kherson called my father a few minutes after it happened and told him, Rabbi, it's very good you're driving an armored car. So my father told him, it's a different kind of armor. It's a miracle armor. The car wasn't armored. It was an open miracle. So that happened, and they came to Kherson for Saturday for Shabbat. And on Shabbat, as you know, Jewish people, we don't drive a car, we don't use electricity. So they walked from our house to the synagogue. And they're walking, my father, my mother, and my sister. And, they walk, and it's very obvious, it's in the air what happened to them a day ago. And my father is thinking, but he's asking loudly, we believe that everything that happens to us is from God. And God is sending us messages. So what did God want from us when a direct drone hit us? He saved us. What does it mean? Does it mean it's a message we have to leave? Does it mean we have to stay? What does it mean? So my father is asking it loudly. And my sister says, sometimes you hear the truth from children in a way you cannot hear from adults. So she said, Father, this miracle didn't happen to us in Odessa. It didn't happen to us in Tel Aviv. It happened to us in Kherson. It actually was close to Chernobyevka. Chernobyl is a famous place, got very famous during the war. That means that Hashem, God wants us to be here, to be with our community, to be with the Ukrainian people. So we are there. And I didn't have the honor to know Benjamin personally, but from what I hear and from the little I know Jonathan a little bit, I met him here. I think that all of us, we have to learn something from what's going on over there. I'm sure that whoever sits here is helping Ukraine in every way he can. But we believe that when a person leaves this world, the connection with him continues. It's a very strong connection with his family and friends, but really whoever is around him and whoever sits here has a connection to Benjamin. We all came here to honor Benjamin. One of the ways this connection continues is that we can learn something from him. And Benjamin was not Ukrainian. He was Hungarian Jewish, young guy. Nevertheless, when he saw that there is something happening and he can help, he went there and he sacrificed the most important, the most precious thing a person can ever have. It's his own life. So, we cannot go maybe to such a high standard as Benjamin, but we all can learn something. Each and every one of us can do something, and the main thing is then when we wake up and we go to sleep is we should ask ourselves, what can I learn from Benjamin? What can I do tomorrow to actually make the world a better place? Thank you, and I want to say to Jonathan in Hebrew, המקום ינחם אתכם בתוך שאר אבלי ציון וירושלים. Thank you.
Thank you. The second organization involved in the sacrifice medal is the Ukrainian War Veterans Association of Canada. This organization has been in existence in Canada for over 95 years. It was founded in Winnipeg, Manitoba in January 1928 by former Army veterans of the Ukrainian National Republic, which had existed in the early 1920s. The UWVA led to the creation of the Ukrainian National Federation of Canada, and these two organizations have provided support, material assistance, humanitarian aid, and leadership to thousands of Ukrainian Canadians for the past 90 years. Today, the mission of the UWVA is to foster relationships between the Canadian military and the Ukrainian Canadian community on matters of joint interest, to support military-related projects of interest such as veterans programs, to build awareness of Ukrainian Canadian and Ukrainian military contributions, and to participate in ceremonial events representing Ukrainian Canadian veterans. As previously mentioned, the Ukrainian Canadian Congress represents and serves the Ukrainian Canadian community in Canada. In Ontario, the Ukrainian Canadian Congress unites Ukrainian communities from Windsor to Thunder Bay to Ottawa under one voice. I would now like to call Petro Shturin, President of the Toronto branch of the Ukrainian Canadian Congress, to say a few words.
Thank you all for coming, for joining. Thank you, Taras, for organizing tonight's memorial. Rabbi, thank you for those words. They were very powerful. It really means a lot to us, Ukrainians, who have family, who have friends going through the same hardship that your family is going through. But it is incredibly meaningful to us to hear of people of not of Ukrainian descent or have ever even been to Ukraine, go and defend freedom, and defend democracy, and ultimately defend the people, the innocent people of Ukraine. So, Mr. Aser, our condolences. We have a saying in Ukrainian, "Heroi не вмирають," which is, heroes never die. And your son was truly a hero. We are honored to be able to remember him. And everyone here tonight will not forget your son's sacrifice. Thank you again. Slava Ukraini.
On behalf of the Sacrifice Committee, I would like to thank Petro and his committee for the work they did in helping plan and coordinate this event. I will now ask Natan Aser to come up and tell us about his son, Benjamin. Mr. Aser.
Slava Ukraini! Hölgyeim és uraim, kedves barátaim!
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends,
Sokan ebben a teremben határozott és bátor katonaként
many in this room today remember Benjamin as a determined and brave soldier, and this is exactly as it should be.
Benjamin nem véletlenül volt ott, ahol. Szívében és tetteiben is katona volt. Egy harcos, aki pontosan tudta, mi a kötelessége. Aki szinte soha nem panaszkodott, aki egyszerűen csak megtette, amit kellett, és aki nem félt, nem ingott meg, és nem futott el.
Benjamin was not where he was by accident. He was a soldier in both heart and deed, a warrior who knew exactly what his duty was, who almost never complained, who simply did what was necessary, and who did not fear, did not falter, and did not run away.
Tudom, hogy vannak közöttünk olyanok is, akik csak egy névként vagy egy fényképként ismerik őt. Engedjék meg, hogy elmondjam, mit tette őt valóban kivételessé ebben a hivatásban.
I also know there are those among us who only know him as a name or a photograph. Allow me to tell you what made him truly exceptional in this profession.
Benjamin története nem egy átlagos katona története. Megvalósította gyermekkori álmait. Tudatosan és következetesen akart katona lenni. Benjamin nem Ukrajnában született. Nem voltak ott gyökerei. Nem túlzás azt állítani, hogy kezdetben senkit nem ismert ott. Mégis ott találta meg legközelebbi barátait, köztük Filát és sokan másokat.
Benjamin's story is not the story of an ordinary soldier. He fulfilled his childhood dreams. He wanted to be a soldier consciously and consistently. Benjamin was not born in Ukraine, and he had no roots in there. It is no exaggeration to say he knew no one there at first. Yet it was there that he found his closest friends, including Philia and many others.
Benjamin választhatta volna a biztonságos kanadai életet, a kényelmet és a békét. Ehelyett a katonai hivatást választotta, majd lövészként a fegyvert és a harcot, mert látta és megértette, hogy az igazság és a szabadság veszélyben van. Bátorsága, példamutató magatartása, valamint a bajtársai védelme és kimentése iránti kötelezettsége egy dolgot bizonyított. Igazi katona volt.
Benjamin could have chosen a safe Canadian life, comfort and peace. Instead, he chose the military profession, and then as a rifleman and chose the weapon and the fight because he saw and understood that truth and freedom were in danger. His bravery, his exemplary conduct, and his dedication to protecting and rescuing his comrades proved one thing: he was a true soldier.
Hitt abban, hogy amikor a szabadságot a sárba tiporják, egy harcos nem nézheti az országhatárokat, sem azt, hogy egy nemzet milyen nyelvet beszél, vagy milyen útlevéllel rendelkezik. Egyszerűen ott kell lennie, ahol a legnagyobb a szükség. Értette, és ez szerint élte a legfontosabb katonai elvet: senkit nem hagyunk hátra. Egészségügyisként is teljes odaadással mentette a bajtársait.
He believed that when freedom is trampled into the mud, and a warrior must not look at national borders, nor at what language a nation speaks, or what passport they hold. He must simply be where the need is the greatest. He understood and lived by the core military principle: leave no one behind. Even as a medic, he saved his brothers in arms with total devotion.
Sokan kérdezték tőlem, miért ment el. Nincs egyszerű válasz, csak egyértelmű valóság. Benjamin nem tudott félrenézni. Hitt abban, hogy a szabadság nincsen ingyen. És vannak értékek, amelyek fontosabbak a saját kényelmünknél vagy biztonságunknál. Ott maradt és harcolt, amikor mások elmentek.
Many have asked me why he went. There is no simple answer, only a clear reality. Benjamin could not look away. He believed that freedom is not free and that there are values more important than our own comfort or safety. He stayed and fought when others left.
Mély fájdalom számomra, hogy Benjamin a háború végén vissza akart térni Kanadába. Értettem, hogy számára Kanada volt a biztonságos kikötő. Sajnos ez a hazatérés soha nem történhet meg, és soha többé nem fog tudni leülni, beszélni, mint férfi a férfival, vagy apa a fiával.
It is a point of deep pain for me that Benjamin wanted to return to Canada at the end of the war. I understood that for him, Canada was his safe harbor. Sadly, that homecoming can never happen, and I will never again be able to sit down and talk with him, man to man, father to son.
Mégis apjaként végtelenül büszke vagyok a sziklaszirát jellemére. Legyen Benjamin példakép Ukrajna jövő nemzedékei számára.
Yet, as his father, I am infinitely proud of his rock-solid character. May Benjamin be an example for future generations of Ukraine.
Ez a mai kitüntetés egy olyan emberé, aki bebizonyította, hogy a hősiesség azzal kezdődik, amit a szívünkkel és a bátorságunkkal választunk. Ma együtt emlékezünk Benjamin Aserre, az önfeláldozó harcosra, aki önként jelentkezett a frontvonalba. Ott akart szolgálni, ahol hitte, hogy valóban számít, és ezt tette, ameddig csak tudta.
This award today belongs to a man who proved that heroism begins with what we choose, with our hearts and our courage. Today we remember Benjamin Aser together, the self-sacrificing warrior who volunteered for the front line. He wanted to serve where he believed it truly mattered, and he did so so for as long as he could.
Szeretnék köszönetet mondani Ukrajna államának, amiért lehetővé tették, hogy Benjamin külföldiként a harcosok útját választhassa. Hálám az Ukrán Védelmi Minisztériumnak álhatatos támogatásukért és Benjamin emléke előtti tisztelgésükért.
I would like to thank you, the state of Ukraine, for making it possible for Benjamin, as a foreigner, to choose the path of a combatant. My gratitude goes to the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine for the steadfast support and for honoring Benjamin's memory.
Külön köszönetemet szeretném kifejezni az Ukrán Külügyminisztériumnak és diplomáciai képviseleteinek, különösen Oleg Nikolenko úrnak, Ukrajna torontói főkonzuljának állandó támogatásáért és őszinte, gyakran megható szavaiért.
I wish to express special thanks to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine and its diplomatic missions, especially to Mr. Oleg Nikolenko, the Consul General of Ukraine in Toronto, for his constant support and his sincere, often moving words.
Benjamin egységeinek, a revans taktikai csoportnak és a harmadik különálló rohamtandárnak köszönöm, hogy válvet váltak. Mellette testvérként fedezték egymást, és védték egymást a leghevesebb csodák közepette.
To Benjamin's units, the Revenge Tactical Group and the 3rd Separate Assault Brigade, thank you for standing shoulder to shoulder, covering each other as brothers and defending one another amidst the fierce battles.
Köszönöm az Ukrán-Kanadai Kongresszusnak és a Kanadai-Ukrán Háborús Veteránok Szövetségének a megtiszteltetést, melyet ezen a posztumusz kitüntetéssel Benjaminra és mindannyiunkra ruháztak. Hálás vagyok a zsidó közösségnek és a rabbiknak. Ukrajna szerte és itt Kanadában is.
Thank you to the Ukrainian-Canadian Congress in the Ukrainian War Veterans Association of Canada for the honor bestowed upon Benjamin and upon all of us with this posthumous award. I am also grateful to the Jewish community and to the rabbis both across Ukraine and here in Canada.
Külön köszönetet szeretnék mondani az ukrán közösségeknek, Ukrajnán belül és itt Kanadában is. Azért a megértésért, támogatásért és törődésért, melyet nap mint nap tanúsítanak egy gyászoló, megtört szülő iránt.
I want to say a special thank you to the Ukrainian communities, both within Ukraine and here in Canada, for the understanding support and care they show every single day toward a grieving, broken parent.
Az elmúlt hónapokban megtapasztaltam az ukrán nép szeretetét és háláját. Benjamin önökért, az ukrán ügyért, Ukrajnáért és végső soron az igazságért harcolt katonaként. De most önök azok, akik a karjaikban tartanak engem a gyászomban, és ezért örökké hálás vagyok.
In recent months, I have experienced the love and gratitude of Ukrainian people. Benjamin fought for you, for the Ukrainian cause, for Ukraine, and ultimately for the truth as a soldier. But now you are the ones holding me in your arms in my grief, and for that I am eternally grateful.
Köszönöm azoknak a kanadaiaknak is, akik teljes hittel állnak Ukrajna mellett, és akik vallják ugyanazokat az értékeket, amelyekért Benjamin harcolt.
I also thank those Canadians who stand with Ukraine with full faith and who hold dear the same values Benjamin fought for.
Benjamin húga, Ziva sajnos nem tud ma velünk lenni, de most hozzá szeretnék szólni.
Benjamin's sister, Ziva, unfortunately cannot be with us today, but I wish to address her now.
Kedves Ziva, ha Benjamin közöttünk lenne, biztos vagyok benne, ezt a tanácsot adná neked. Légy mindig bátor, és hallgass a szívedre. Megtanítana arra, hogy állj ki amellett, amit jónak és igaznak érzel, és soha ne félj segíteni másokon. Ziva, gondolj mindig úgy a bátyádra, mint egy emberre, aki megmutatta, hogy az emberi jellem nem ismer határokat. Büszkeséggel és bátorsággal nézhetsz fel rá, és ő vigyáz rád, és oltalmaz téged onnan feltről. Ha valaha egyedül éreznéd magad, vagy szomorú lennél, csak emlékezz, a bátyád egy igazi hős, és lélekben mindig meg fog téged védeni.
Dear Ziva, if Benjamin were among us, I am certain he would give you this advice. Always be brave and listen to your heart. He would teach you to stand up for what you feel is good and true and never be afraid to help others. Ziva, always think of your brother as a man who showed that human character knows no borders. You can look up to him with pride and courage. He is watching over you and protecting you from above. If you ever feel alone or sad, just remember, your brother is a true hero, and in spirit, he will always protect you.
Benjamin tettei és ez az elismerés már mindörökké velünk maradnak. Ez a kitüntetés nem csak Benjaminé, hanem mindannyiunké, akik hiszünk a bátorság alapvető, a szabadság alapvető fontosságában, és ha szükség megkívánja, a szabadságért való önfeláldozásban.
Benjamin's actions in this recognition will now stay with us forever. This medal belongs not only to Benjamin, but to all of us who believe in the fundamental importance of freedom and, when its necessity demands, in self-sacrifice for that freedom.
Aser Benjamin hívójele Némó. Igazi harcos volt az első naptól az utolsóig. Emléke örökké fog élni a szívünkben.
Aser-Benjamin call sign Nemo. He was a true warrior from the first day to the last. His memory will live forever in our hearts.
Dziękuję wam za waszą підтримку.
Thank you. Thank you, Natan, for sharing your memories of your son, Benjamin. On February 24th, 2022, in the pre-dawn hours, Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, a major escalation of the Russo-Ukrainian war that started in 2014. Russia fired missiles at Ukrainian apartment buildings. Russian artillery struck Ukrainian hospitals and schools. Russian tanks rolled west, north, and south towards Kyiv, Kharkiv, Kherson, and Dnipro. Millions of Ukrainians were displaced from their homes by Russia's war. We are grateful to Canadians who have generously donated in support of Ukraine, and grateful to the many thousands of volunteers of our Ukrainian and Canadian community whose tireless commitment inspires and energizes us. Russia seeks the destruction of the Ukrainian state and the annihilation of the Ukrainian people. Russia purposely targets civilians and civilian infrastructure with air, missiles, and artillery strikes. Russian soldiers rape, torture, and murder innocent people and forcibly abduct Ukrainian children. This is genocide. But the invading Russian armies found a defiant Ukrainian nation. United as one, the Ukrainian people took up arms to defend their country and their freedom from Russia's genocidal war. It has been over 4 years since the invasion, and the Ukrainian people fight on. The free world stands with Ukraine as Ukrainians fight courageously in defense of not only the freedom of their own country, but the freedom of Europe. Thousands of Ukraine's sons and daughters have given their lives in defense of their country. Citizens from numerous countries have also volunteered to defend Ukraine, and sadly, many have also lost their lives. To date, 16 Canadians have lost their lives in defense of Ukraine's freedom. I will now read the resolution that initiated this medal, as it explains the purpose of this medal and why we are here tonight. Whereas the Russian Federation launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine on February 24th, 2022, and Ukraine appealed to citizens of foreign countries to voluntarily join Ukraine's armed forces to defend Ukraine from Russia's genocidal war of aggression, and citizens of Canada have answered Ukraine's call and have volunteered to join in the fight to defend Ukraine's freedom and have been killed or wounded in action. And whereas the Ukrainian Canadian community is profoundly grateful to all citizens of Canada who have joined the fight to defend Ukraine and the combat sacrifices that Canadians have made to defend Ukraine, they must be honored and acknowledged. This sacrifice medal is therefore being presented on behalf of all Canadians of Ukrainian descent to the families of these fallen Canadians as a thank you and acknowledgement of the ultimate sacrifice given by these Canadians. We honor their memory. Heroes never die. Heroi ne vmiraють. I would like to ask Petro Shturin to join me in the presentation of the Ukrainian Canadian Sacrifice Medal to Natan Aser, father of Benjamin Aser. Benjamin, please come up. Not Benjamin, Natan, sorry. On behalf of all Ukrainian Canadians, we'd like to thank and acknowledge the sacrifice your son made in the defense of Ukraine's freedom. Thank you very much. Thank you. Before we conclude this afternoon's program, I'd like to thank everyone who came today to acknowledge the sacrifice Benjamin Aser made in May 2025. All the citizens of Canada and Ukraine are grateful for his belief that everyone, everywhere, should be able to live in freedom. At solemn events as today, I would like to conclude with two phrases. The Jewish phrase, may his memory be a blessing, and the Ukrainian phrase, Vichnaya Pamyat. Vichnaya Pamyat means eternal memory, and Benjamin Aser will eternally be in our memory. This marks the conclusion of our program. Please stay and enjoy some food and drink and have a safe trip home. Thank you.